So we stopped at verse 8, which was all thieves came, all who came before me are thieves and robbers, but the sheep did not hear him. Well, what is he talking about then? Is he talking about the prophets? Is he talking about David and Elijah? No. What he's talking about are all people who came and claimed to be the Messiah. And obviously, there were those who came, and they're mentioned later on. Like there's Judas, some Judas, not the Judas, but some other Judas who came and claimed to be a Messiah, and the Romans ended up killing him or whatever, and his disciples all scattered. But what Jesus is saying, those who claim to be me, obviously were not. So if they weren't him, why were they claiming to be him? Well, they had an agenda. And it says their agenda were they were thieves and robbers. In other words, they were out to steal something from people. And if you look at a lot of the false teachers today, Joel Osteen, Benny Hinn, Kenneth Copeland, all these guys, Creflo Dollar, I could go on, Robert Schuller, all these guys. What is it that they're after? Well, money, fame. They're certainly not willing to suffer for Christ at all. So they're after something for themselves. And here specifically, Jesus is talking about those who came and claimed to be him. He says, I am. I love those I am statements. It's pretty absolute. I am the door. If anyone enters through me, he will be saved. Christ is establishing the understanding that only salvation comes through him. There is no other way of salvation. Only through him. Now remember that he's stating this to people that do not understand the gospel. And here, okay, let's just take a breath for a moment and think about this. The gospel is not an ideology. The gospel is not a philosophy. The gospel is not a lifestyle. The gospel is a person. It's the person of Jesus Christ. He is expressed in ideas. He is expressed, if you want to say philosophy or teaching, but everything about salvation, redemption, justification, sanctification, all of that is through him. And one of the mistakes that Christians can make is they get so caught up in an ideology like the Jews did, the Pharisees, and they lose sight of the person of God. The Pharisees lost sight of the relationship with God because they accentuated and focused on lifestyle and ideology and teaching, all of which is good if it flows from a relationship. Does that make sense? This is super important, that the gospel is a person. I am the door. If anyone enters through me, he will be saved and will go in and out and find pasture. That's not talking about going, and Jimmy Swaggart is wrong. It's not talking about losing and regaining your salvation. Okay, it's talking about freedom of living within the will of God. They go in and out and find pasture. It speaks to safety and the personhood of the shepherd, not to the liberty of the sheep. The thief comes only to steal, kill, and destroy. So that's what the thief does. That's the result of what he does. I came that they may have life and have it abundantly. The thief has no ability to give life. The thief only can take. And this is an unfortunate, like Jude. Jude says they are like black clouds without rain. If a farmer saw black clouds coming in the horizon towards his field, he would be happy because he needs rain. But what if those black clouds looked so heavy with water, but yet never gave a drop? That's what the false teachers are. They look like they can come and rain nutrition, but they give nothing. Jesus says, I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd lays down his life for his sheep. Now, that is now what there's look at the difference in the motivation of the shepherd and the false shepherds. The false shepherds steal, kill, and destroy. And the true shepherd lays down his life. He gives and dies for his sheep. It's a very contrasted difference between those who are real and those who are not. Jesus says, he who is a hired hand and not, now get this, he's not a shepherd. Those who are a hired hand and not a shepherd, who is not the owner of the sheep. Now get that word, this is important. The hired hand doesn't own the sheep. He sees a wolf coming and he leaves the sheep and flees, and the wolf snatches them and scatters them, and he flees because he is a hired hand and is not concerned about the sheep. Now get that. The hired hand is not the owner of the sheep. He sees a wolf coming. He has no vested interest in the sheep. He's like, no, look, this is true. Where there's one wolf, there's a pack. I'm not sticking around. Sorry, not worth my life. Why? Because those sheep do not belong to him. He doesn't own them. He has no vested interest in them. The shepherd, on the other hand, lays down his life for the sheep because of his vested interest in them. Which is really interesting when you think about those who are what we call under shepherds, pastors, elders, those who are true and belong to the Lord, why will they lay down their lives for the sheep if they're not the shepherd? Well, because interestingly enough, they are not the shepherd, but they are the sheep filled with the spirit of the shepherd. Let that blow your mind for a second. They have a double vested interest in that they are called by the shepherd, and the spirit of the shepherd dwells them with the same intensity and love for the sheep. And they themselves know and understand that they are the sheep as well. So there is not only a responsibility that is carried through by the power of the Spirit, but also a brotherhood that is carried through the identification of the church. That's probably a little bit esoteric, but you'll just have to deal with it and think about it that way. It does speak to the power of the Spirit conveying the motivation of Jesus within a pastor's heart. And by the way, I'll repeat this, that's the importance of you being in a biblically pastor elder-led church. Jesus says, I am the good shepherd, and I know my own, and my own know me. It's a very powerful statement. It speaks to the, well, we talked about it in Romans and all through John, but it speaks to the predestination and sovereignty and election of the believer. I have other sheep which are not of this fold. I must bring them also, and they will hear my voice, and they will become one flock with one shepherd. I'm sorry, Joseph Smith, this is not talking about the American Indians in America. This is talking about the Gentiles. The sheep of another flock are the Gentiles. That Jesus would make the Gentiles and the Jews one people under him. Now get this, for this reason, my Father loves me. Okay, for what reason? I'm not talking anymore. You guys talk to me. I'm going to drink my mango punch. For this reason, the Father loves me. Because I lay down my life. Whoops, hold on. Where was I? So that I may take it up again. Now, what is the, let me say this, the comprehensiveness of Christ laying down his life? My Father loves me because, for this reason, the Father loves me, because I lay down my life that I may take it up again. Now, there's more than just the after in that statement. There's also the before. You have to connect what Jesus just said with the totality and the comprehensiveness of I lay down my life and I will take it up again.
And to be clear, the question is exactly, I'm sorry.
My Father loves me for this reason. What is the reason?
Because Christ's death and being brought back to life resulted in his death. Well, it resulted in his ultimate glorification is where I was going.
Okay, now remember that there's two things there. I lay my life down and I take it up again. That's a powerful statement. Think about this. No human being can say, I'm going to die and I will raise myself up again. Now, the Jew might say, okay, God can raise you up again. Only God can raise someone up. So we don't miss the potency.
Jesus is saying he's God.
Absolutely.
Right.
But also, for this, you have to connect what he just said with what he said. In other words, the comprehensive meaning of Jesus laying down his life and taking up again, the result of that is, I am the door. If anyone enters through me, he will be saved, will go in and out, and will find pasture. I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd lays down his life for his sheep. I am the good shepherd, and I know my own, and they know me. So again, what I'm trying to unartistically say is that salvation and the gospel are not just some ideology, it's a person. And the problem is that a lot of people go to church and their whole relationship with the gospel is ideology and lifestyle.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
And where's the personal relationship? Intellectual without intimacy. That's what the Pharisees were. Intellectual without intimacy.
When you said earlier that the gospel is the person or the person of Christ, that actually leaves me with a lot to think about.
There really is. You know, we don't want to miss out on that, because as Christians, we can end up seeking Christianity and not Christ. Yeah. I think the bottom line is that we have to stand back and ask, am I seeking an intellectual pursuit, or am I seeking a person? I am the good shepherd. I know my own know me. Even as the Father knows me, and I know the Father, and I lay down my life for my sheep. I have other sheep, which are not. Okay, all of this language that he's using, there's one word that would really tie all of this together. What is it? You guys got to answer me now. I'm not going to talk until one of you gets the word.
Faith.
Come on now. No Sunday school answers. Jesus.
Tony, is it?
What's that?
Tony, is it in the verses?
No. Think Trinity, and go from there.
Trinity.
We've talked about this word before. Somebody dinged.
Suppose the answer isn't that he's the only way, is it?
No.
Tony, I'm sorry, I'm really struggling. What is the question again?
Okay. There's a concept here. Listen to it. Even as I am the good shepherd, and I know my own know me. Even as the Father knows me, I know the Father, and I lay down my life for the sheep. I have other sheep which are not of this fold. I must bring them also. Now get this, because here's a big hint. They will hear my voice, and they will become one flock with one shepherd.
Spread the gospel.
No.
God, Jesus, love, or community?
God, Jesus, our community. Well, I will say that the word is in that word.
Communion?
Jesus wanted to preach to the Gentile.
It's just a word I'm looking for, folks. Just one word.
It's not communion.
No.
One.
Okay, I'm John. I'm going to give
Unity?
I'm going to give you a silver star for that. You're close. You're very close. What was that? Someone said something?
Unity.
Who said that first?
Amy.
Amy. That's the word. Unity. Think about it. I and the Father are one. I and the sheep are one. Everything screams, and that's why I said that in community is that word unity. Unity. Common unity. Right? So that what Jesus is saying is that there is unity within the shepherd, within the sheep, within the Father. All of it is found within the Trinity, that unity. I and the Father am one. I know the sheep know me. I have another flock. They will be one with one shepherd. Isn't it interesting that the world is always making this big gesture towards a united world? And they can never achieve it because they want to do it without God, like the Tower of Babel.
Yeah.
Now, think about this. Babylon the Great in Revelation, what is it that what Babylon wanted? Unity without God. Or actually, let me rephrase that. Unity against God. Because Nimrod wanted to build a tower so high he could go to war with God. That was the whole issue of the Tower of Babel. Nimrod was a hunter, a mighty hunter before the Lord. If you read that in the Hebrew, Nimrod hunted men. He was the first dictator. And he wanted all men to serve him and be under his control. And he wanted to build a tower that reached into the heavens so he could wage war with God. And in Revelation, Babylon the Great is a unifying of the world against God. That's exactly what we're seeing today. That's what we're seeing. What you're seeing in America with the Roe versus Wade and all that, we get excited because these 6 justices are saying the right thing. Well, I mean, it would be great if they just came out and said abortion's wrong. They're not even actually saying that. They're just saying that it's up to the states to decide according to the Constitution. So we really can't make it a religious statement. But truth is prevailing in degrees, which is causing anger from the evil, from the children of Satan, to finally wage war against God. That's what's going to happen. All of this that's going on in our country, all it's going to do is it's going to cause the children of Satan to solidify against God and the children of God. That's exactly what's going to happen. So this idea of unity can only happen under the person of Jesus Christ, in the person of Jesus Christ, through the person of Jesus Christ. And I'll stop there for today.
Now, Tony, your comments earlier about the mark of the beast, that's pretty powerful. Because we've talked about it before. You had mentioned a while ago how the mark of the beast may not necessarily be physical, but it will be some public pronouncement about it, well, that is against God. And that's what I've been seeing in the news. We've had like 3 victories this month, which I think is a great way to end Gay Pride Month. But
Yeah,
we've had these victories, but the backlash has been so, it hasn't been cryptic. It's been very clear. You know, like I just saw somebody on TV, he says, yeah, I want to kill babies. I saw that on TV.
Well, that's what I was telling Jeff. I mean, they don't care it's a life. They know it's a life and they don't care.
And it's becoming more and more clear. I mean, the lines are really getting drawn now, more so than we've ever seen before. So that's thinking, yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe that's the mark of the beast. I don't know. I'm not saying that's what it is, but
I think that's kind of what it's going to be.
Yeah.
I think it's a spiritual delineation. I think it'll be, I mean, Roxanne and I were talking today, and you look at all of these companies, Amazon, Disney, you know, American Express, that are all saying, if we can't kill babies, we don't want to do business with you. Or like Pink came out today, and my daughter-in-law loves Pink, and she came out and said, if you're a Christian, I don't want you following me.
I don't want you coming to concerts.
Yeah. And so now my daughter-in-law, hopefully she'll wake up and go, you're right, I shouldn't be. I shouldn't want anything to do with you. The separation is not going to come from Christians, folks. The world is going to insist. They're the ones that always draw the line. Have you ever go back into the Roman Empire, go back in the Middle Ages? It's always the world that draws the line in the sand. And they're drawing the line in the sand. And it's going to get more intense in the next few years.
And, and you know, too, if I could say really quick, because I don't want to interrupt you early, but we're seeing like Amazon and a lot of other major companies in response to Roe v. Wade, they're telling their people, they're telling their birthing people now, I guess, but the women, if you get an abortion, we will pay you $4,000. So they're actually creating incentives
Yeah.
doing it. So I mean,
Go
it's
get
very
pregnant
clear
so
this
you
has
can
got,
get an abortion and we'll pay you money.
yeah, this has got nothing to do with right or wrong as far as what they're concerned about. This has
No.
everything to do
Yeah.
with the worship of self.
It's-
Because I mean, in order to be
It is. It is
competitive, you can't be pregnant.
yeah,
No,
it's an all out, and this is what I mean by the mark of the beast on the forehead and the hand. Their thoughts, what Disney, American Express, Amazon, all of these, their thoughts are now resulting in them taking action. And sooner or later, Christians are not going to be able to go to Disneyland. I told my wife, I said, how can we ever do anything Disney knowing that whatever money we give them is supporting abortion? They're drawing the line in the sand. They're saying, is your vacation or entertainment worth selling out your Christian values? I mean, that's where it's going. And so we're going to just have to make a decision where we're going to draw the line on that.
And even down to the movies.
Yeah, I mean, and what's going to happen is that the remnant of believers who refuse to take part in our culture anymore are going to be persecuted. That's always how it's been. Come out of her, my people, and do not share in her sins. How do you come out of a Babylon? Well, you come out by not participating anymore. And then you're canceled. You cannot buy or sell because you will not go along. I can see it very easily happening.